There was no silver bullet of the game. And if Jim Knowles wasn't thrilled, then I don't think BuckIQ is going to be overly optimistic this week. That is Zach Boren. I am Austin Ward. We are back on the podcast. I do think if there's anything you like, Zach, it is probably that Ohio State's defensive coordinator sent a message that, yes, a lot of other programs might be okay with a 49-14 win and still being on top of most defensive rankings across the country, but not up to the standard. And he sent that message without giving a player of the game.
I absolutely love it. You and I have talked about it the past couple of years. Coach Day talked about tough love, and he has for the past couple of years. And now you see Jim Knowles actually putting it where his mouth is, and sending a message to this defense, I think at the right time. You and I talked about it on Sundays that you need to pat these guys when they're down and kick them in the butt when they're up. And right now, Jim Knowles is kicking them in the butt, and it's the perfect time to do it.
So overall, Zach, why do you think that this performance doesn't sit right with Ohio State? As I said, they wound up pitching a shutout in the second half. They gave up 2.9 yards per carry. We could find some stats that suggest that it was like a fine performance. I guess part of this might just be the start of Big Ten play on Saturday in Michigan State and trying to ramp things up. But clearly there were things that Ohio State and the coaching staff did not like. What do you think what's the number one thing you think that stands out for them?
Well, a lot of it has to do, they're going into Big Ten play, especially on the road at night in East Lansing. That's a huge thing. The things that I saw that were glaring that I know the coaching staff doesn't love is against a Marshall offense that I know going into that game, talking to coaches, they thought the defense was much better than Marshall's offense. And you give up 7 third downs to Marshall. I mean, that's inexcusable. I think Marshall was 7 of 17 in any game. I don't care if you're playing Oregon, Michigan, Penn State. You have to get off the field on third down. The other thing is when you aren't controlling the line of scrimmage, especially in the run game, and Marshall is going back to a quarterback run, and it's the same thing, giving you some different formations, but going back to basically the same play call, and you aren't picking up on that and you can't make the play, that's a huge thing. So controlling the line of scrimmage, that's number 2. And then number 3 is turnovers. You need to get the ball. We saw it the first couple weeks, some turnovers on this defense, some defensive scores. That was nowhere to be found on Saturday against Marshall. And so I think those 3 things specifically going into Big Ten play, when we've talked about this stretch run back to the beginning of the year, those 3 things are the most important.
On Tuesday, Ryan Day and Jim Knowles were talking in the team room. The media was there. It was the weekly press conference getting ready. And I tried to get a feel for just how much dissatisfaction there was while putting it in the context of, hey, it was incredibly hot. Tyleik Williams didn't play. The game was pretty weird in terms of Ohio State scoring almost immediately every time they got the football, putting the defense back on the field to be even more tired. Do any of these excuses do you guys want to grab onto any one of those and use them? And they're like, no, that just wasn't good enough. It's the same thing with the silver bullet of the day. They just if this team is going to accomplish its goals, it can't really compromise, and it didn't.
And I don't think it's one of those things of giving up 14 points, not getting any turnovers. I don't think that's the biggest issue. I think what they're more upset about is, you're right, the Ohio State offense was taking care of business, and then the Ohio State defense against a Marshall team was just lingering on the field. It was so weird. Yes, they only gave up 14 points. I get it. Great job. Understand. But at the same time, it's when you are supposed to make a play and you don't make it, and it happens time and time and time again against an opponent like Marshall, I think that's more the glaring thing. It goes back to not really a stat, so to speak. And I know I gave stats about third down, and that's not acceptable, but it's more so a gut feeling about a game. And as a player, we had the same thing. We knew hey, listen, there were times we went out and won by double digits in points, but you leave the game with kind of an uneasy feeling because man, it just didn't feel right. It wasn't us. We weren't executing the way we needed to execute. And that's what you saw on Saturday. The coaches felt it, players felt it. And I think that's why they've rolled it out the way they have, of no silver bullet on defense, kind of being as blunt as they are in the media. And I love that.
It feels like such a different. We've been doing this for a long time, Zach. It's sometimes tricky to find the right way to evaluate it, because just about everybody else in the country and every other defense would be like, hey, this is one of the better performances of the year, even if it is Marshall, even if it's at a different level of competition. And it always amazes me. Not just how high the standard is inside the locker room, not from our perspective on the outside, like the way that sits with you. You've been through this. You were talking about it as a player, that the Buckeyes in there are the ones that truly matter with what their evaluation is. And if they're publicly making it this clear that they're not happy with what happened on Saturday, I think that's pretty significant. Not just because I guess because it should be correctable with the personnel they have. And if they're not accepting this, that seems to bode well to me for the long-term outlook.
Well, how they're acting in the media is exactly how they used to act back when I was in college. The only difference is nowadays so much more is out and about, right? With NIL, with players having more access to media having more access to programs. The way they're acting now is exactly how it was behind closed doors. And then they go out in the media and kind of put on a persona of everything's okay. And we're going to, yes, we may have not looked wholesome, but we're going to make the proper changes. Guess what? Now they're coming out and being blunt about it. And that's what I love. And kids nowadays need that. 18 to 22-year-old young men, they need to be put in their place sometimes, as did I back in the day. And I think if you rewind as well, they are bringing so much to light of this performance, because I think the standard has completely changed, right? We've seen the past couple, I shouldn't say past couple years, prior to 2 years from now, Ohio State had a dynamite offense, right? You saw the JT Barrett's, Justin Fields, CJ Strouds of the world go out and be able to put up all of these points. And Ohio State kind of had a philosophy of a bend but don't break defense. Now it's like, hey, we want an attacking defense. And if you look back the last 2 years, if the defense performed against Georgia, Ohio State's national champions 2 years ago, if the defense is able to get off the field on third down last year in Ann Arbor, Ohio State might be national champions again, right? Mm-hmm. So the last 2 years, there were glaring performances. And even if you go back to 22 again against Michigan, right? If the defense performed, guess what? They're in the Big Ten championship game. So like, there's been so many performances over the past 2 years where the defense has just kind of dropped the ball. And I think the defensive coaches, and especially a lot of those players, because they're still the same players that have been there. We talk about how veteran of a defense this is. They are finally understanding, like, hey, listen, doesn't matter if it's Marshall, doesn't matter if it's Oregon, Penn State, Michigan. I know I keep on going back to those three teams because those are huge games coming up, but the standard is the standard and we have to uphold it.
All right, so they're going to be critical in those team meeting rooms this week in the Woody, and we're going to do that on BuckIQ as well. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, in some ways, picking the first drive of the game is like a little bit unfair because you never know what you're going to get. Ohio State was coming off of an off week. Marshall changed some things up schematically, and then you still have a full game to adjust, but I think this was the drive that caught everyone's attention.
For sure, because I think it set the tone of the game. And as the Ohio State defense comes in, you're like, hey, listen, first drive after a bye week, to your point, let's get off the field. Let's let the offense get a play and get up on Marshall early, right? That's always the plan. Defense, get off the field. Here, what you're going to see is obviously a pass rush, 3rd and 3, know the down and distance. Ohio State's showing a strict cover one man look. As you can see, middle high safety, everyone matched up, linebackers walked up. They're actually going to drop to sit in some kind of zone look right here. What happens, or what hurts, is this pass rush, right? The quarterback is able to get outside the pocket, get on the run. And at 3rd and 3, it's so hard because at that point, the quarterback's a running threat. 3 yards is not hard to get. And so from that standpoint, if you are covering a person in man and you see the quarterback get out of the pocket, you are left in limbo, and you'll see a lot of these guys kind of start to trigger, which then leaves a guy open in kind of that dead space. And that's where you see them convert here on 3rd down.
It's wild. So Ty Hamilton gets out there, Zach. He misses this by an inch. This could have changed. This is the first 45 seconds of the game. Could be a 3 and out. You have, I think, is that Lathan Ransom? He just barely misses in coverage too. Like, sometimes it is a matter of inches that aren't like glaring weaknesses. Now we might see that as the drive continues, but this they were pretty close to getting off the field here and just sort of missed out by fractions here.
Yeah, and to your point up top, it's Jordan Hancock there. But Jordan Hancock, as you see, look, if you go back for 1 second and you pause it literally right here, if you pause it right here, look, Jordan Hancock's on this, right? He's on it. He knows, hey, listen, I got help with Cody Simon on my inside. And then as soon as the quarterback breaks, stop. Look, the quarterback starts to go, and what's Jordan Hancock do? Realize, oh, man, this guy's a threat to run the ball. There's only 3 yards. I know, hey, there's no contain out here now. I'm going to trigger on this. And then Cody Simon's a step too late. It's just a hard play. That wide receiver finds the dead zone. It's a perfect throw, perfect catch. But this is what happens when the pass rush doesn't get there, or number 2, loses contain in this situation.
Yep. Sometimes they get you, but you can still find the stuff to correct on it. You have another third down opportunity right after that. This one probably doesn't feel as great, but it's a great throw.
A phenomenal throw. And I think, their quarterback played the game of his life, especially early on before he left the game. But this is a great throw. But here's the other thing. Where's the pressure at? 3rd and 4, right? 3rd and 4. This quarterback is basically standing here stiff-legged for, I don't know, 2-3 seconds. I mean, look at this. He's just looking. It's hard to guard guys. Doesn't matter if it's Marshall or not. It's hard to guard guys for a certain amount of time. Quarterback should have to get the ball out of their hands in under 2.5 seconds. Here, he's just sitting there patting it. He probably has 4 seconds here to make the throw. And this is what happens. Caleb Downs right here by the blocko. You can see him, right? What happens is the more time, he's starting to guess because he's like, the quarterback's going to throw the ball at some point, and I got to figure it out. So what happens? Hey, the wide receiver finds a little bubble right there. You can see between Jordan Hancock and I think Cody Simon again. Caleb Downs like, hey, listen, ding, ding, ding. I know they hit that on the last 3rd down play. So what do? I try and bite on it to see if I can make a play on it. And the next you know, there's someone in behind him, and Denzel Burke stuck covering, gets beat to the inside. Great. I mean, listen, that's good defense. It's a great throw and catch. Marshall, again, converts the 3rd down.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Zach, because I think we talked about coming out of the game. Teams are going to keep trying to do 0-step, 1-step drops to get the ball out. That was not one of those examples. Those are the ones where I think the defensive line and maybe the ends have to step up and deliver more pressure. Like if you're only going to get a handful of those situations a game, you better make the most of them.
100%. And he almost had 4 seconds in the box. And now here you go, 1st and 10, they converted it. What do they go to? Everyone's like, okay, listen, they're going to go to a run. Here we are. Next thing you know, they've got, if you look at their alignment, they run short motion, right, up top, which makes it difficult for the DBs to trade off. What happens is they run short motion, they trade off. Next thing you know, I'm not sure who that is. I think that's Lathan Ransom now. He's playing off. Your linebackers are playing up in some kind of, it looks like it's some kind of blitz, right? Sonny's coming. Cody is green dogging. That's what we call it. Hey, listen, he's on the back. If the back stays in, he's going to trigger. There's obviously some kind of man right there. Lathan's playing off. They run some kind of slant right here, and it's an easy pitch and catch again. And again, no pressure in the quarterback's face. Now, granted, this was a much quicker release by quarterback. Great play design, but at the same time, man, they're gonna make conversions, right? But the plays leading up to this made this play so successful.
Yeah, and kept it going. And now you've had the ball for almost 4 minutes. Certainly, Ohio State players are going to get tired, but you can change the personnel, or you can just get off the field. Either way,
for sure. And this is where you call it. This is where it becomes a guessing game, right? I want you to pause it right there. So they converted the 3rd down, right? They come back down on 1st down. What do? Ohio State's expecting a run. That's why they're playing. They run some kind of stunt with a blitz. Guess what? Defensive linemen see pass. Are like, oh man, okay, they've converted some big passes on on us. Last time on 1st down, what'd they do? Threw a pass. So what do the defensive linemen do? Now they're like, 1st down. Oh man, they're gonna pass it against us now, and start. Now you start getting into your head. What's Hero Canoe do here? If you see him down on the bottom, I think he's the bottom 3 technique, right? He's going way up the field. This is a run. Like, where are you right now? This is a running play. There is no reason for you to be in that situation right there, because now you've got Ty Hamilton getting double teamed by the center and guard. You've got the Cody Simon left in space right here. And the other thing is, if you look at Sonny Styles on the G of the Big Ten, he's taken 2 steps back and there wasn't even no threat of pass. Like, you need to read run before you get into your pass drop. And so he's late on firing. Cody Simon stuck. Look at the defensive linemen. They're all upfield, right? You've only got Ty Hamilton right there battling a double team. And now the running back has a 2-way go. That's what they call it. If you paused it right there, he could go right. He could go left. That's what running backs want. 2-way go. Cody Simon has to sit there in limbo, play it slow. The big guy gets on him. And next thing you know, running back breaks it, I think, here for like 12, 13 yards.
Yeah, it is weird to see that much space given up by the Ohio State defense as aggressively as they played. We've seen a bunch of clips in the first couple of BuckIQs of the year, like 7, 8 silver bullet helmets getting to the football. You just have not seen opportunities like that. Again, we're looking at one particular drive, and we probably could find a bunch of other examples in the second half where Ohio State corrected and rallied to the football or read it correctly because they didn't give up any points in the second half. But, Jim Knowles was talking about starting fast, and I think in my mind, I always associate that with an offense starting fast, but it applies to a defense too, and that did not happen on Saturday.
For sure. And every coach that I've had has always told me on first down, 1st and 10, run first, pass second, right? And so for them to be in the situation where they're thinking pass first and run second, it gets you out of alignment. It makes you late. You drop into a zone when you shouldn't be dropping. It is a complete mess up. Here again, you got 2nd and 8, right? They started going to this late first quarter, second quarter, these quarterback leads with the running back leading. Shows pass for a second. Everyone gets up upfield from a defensive line standpoint. Linebackers think, okay, pass. I'm getting back in my zone. And especially Cody Simon here, I think he was up at the line of scrimmage, so he's dropping back, getting his eyes. Well, what happens, Cody? You need to get your eyes on the ball. Like, you have to have an understanding of the play. Even when you're dropping, you need to look back. Like Coach Fickle was huge on that, of using your vision. And so what happens is Cody should have been like, hey, as soon as he left the line of scrimmage, peeked at the wide receivers, then went back to the ball. And as soon as he saw the quarterback tuck it, put your foot in the ground and freaking get after him. Now you got Sonny Styles just kind of waiting on a block, which Sonny has to be more physical in this situation. You are a 6'5", right, 220-pound linebacker, and you're waiting on a linebacker or on a running back's block. Look at this. I mean, Sonny Styles, that's where you're basically at to start the play. You are 5 yards off the ball. Get downhill and take that dude on and use your length. Shed or strike and shed him and get him off. Instead, guess what? Now you're finally getting off 9 yards down. You're making contact 9 yards down the field. Like, that's unacceptable as well. You have to be able to trigger much slower. I don't know if the linebackers are thinking too much in this situation. At the end of the day, man, play football. Like, see what's happening in front of you, trigger on it, use your hand, strike, get off, and make a play. Like, he should have been attacking that running back and meeting him maybe a yard on his line of scrimmage. Instead, it's 5. He's got to get off. Quarterback has a big run. Lathan Ransom almost saves the day right here. That's a hell of a punch. But listen, ball's going out of bounds. I mean, yes, you're getting after the football here, but in my opinion, they shouldn't even have been in that situation.
They were, and it means that BuckIQ, for the first time this year, looking at a drive that ended in a touchdown, not for Ohio State. Marshall took that lead. Of course, the Buckeyes wound up winning 49-14, but Big Ten play, Zach, as you said, is here. Buckeyes need to start faster. They need to make some adjustments and get things figured out. I don't know what they are. That's why I talked to you.
There definitely needs to be adjustments. I think that's why you see, like we talked about, the coaches being the way they are. People need to stop guessing. It's reading and react. And we've talked about it for 6 years now on the show. That's what defense is. Read, react, have a nose for the football, and literally get to the football with bad intentions. That's all that it's about. They have to get back to the basics, stop overthinking stuff, and freaking get after dudes. And that starts with the front 4, because that did not happen on Saturday. And then after that, it's the 2 linebackers that need to get downhill and freaking bang some dudes and play on their line of scrimmage.
All right, that next opportunity Saturday night in East Lansing for Ohio State against Michigan State, and there will be a Boren Blitz again. He'll be back on Monday to talk about whatever happens there, and we'll have another BuckIQ looking at the Ohio State defense next week. I'm going to guess that it's going to be more positive, but we'll wait and see. Thanks for joining us on the podcast. For Zach Boren, I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time.